Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending today. We're going to get started. My name is Ronald. I'll be your webinar host. Before we get into everything, I just want to share a bit about this webinar. This webinar is sometimes called a hybrid webinar. The presentation you are seeing and hearing is recorded, but if you are attending this webinar in one of my scheduled sessions, then I am live in the chat window on the right to answer any questions you have as you watch. This allows me more opportunity to interact in the chat and drop resources for you as we go. Feel free to submit any questions there you have throughout the presentation. Also, if you have to step away for a minute or leave early, don't worry. I'll follow up with all attendees with a replay video that you can watch on demand. The goal for this presentation is to help you optimize your donation pages to earn more donations and larger donations at year end. First off, I just want to say thank you. I know many of you are working long hours, balancing the professional and personal to further the missions of your nonprofits. Thank you for what you're doing in your community, and thank you for taking the time to sit in on this webinar. I know what it means to block out part of your day. I appreciate it very, very much. Here's the obligatory About Me slide so you'll know who's chatting with you today. My name is Ronald Pruitt. I'm the president and founder of For a Good Cause. I've been helping nonprofits build websites and raise money online for over 22 years. I live in Kennesaw, Georgia with my wonderful wife, my lovely mother-in-law, and our two awesome teenage kids. My company, For a Good Cause, is an easy-to-use, effective, and affordable online fundraising platform for small nonprofits. It's an all-in-one platform for online donations, event registration, crowdfunding, peer-to-peer fundraising, and donor management. Nonprofits that use For a Good Cause have donation sizes double national averages and can typically pay back their investment in our software with only one donation each month. You can check us out at foragoodcause.com. You can read my blog there and follow me on Twitter at 4agc for more online fundraising tips. Here's what we'll be up to today. We're going to work our way through tips to help your small nonprofit improve their online donation process. There'll be many ways you will entice donors to make an online donation. They might come via your website, from emails you send out, social media postings, or direct mail letters. They might click from other landing pages or perhaps peer-to-peer fundraising pages to get to your donation page. In this workshop, we're going to focus on getting donors to complete that last step in the fundraising process, completing your donation form and making their gift. If you stick around to the end of the presentation, which I hope you will, I have a free resource for you, our donation page checklist, that can serve as a guide to help you see if your donation form is user-friendly. As we go along, if you have questions, post them in the chat. Again, this is one of my scheduled sessions for this webinar. I'm in there available to answer your questions. If I don't get to your question, I certainly will follow up with you after. If you're watching this as a recording and have a question, I'll give my contact info at the end of the presentation. Feel free to send me any questions you have or request any resource offered. Here we go. Let's start by looking at what you're up against in getting donors to make online donations. What's the problem? Let me pose a question or scenario to you. Let's say 100 potential donors visit your website and click to a page or form where they can make an online donation. How many of these 100 potential donors do you think will complete that process and submit the online donation? Look for a poll on the right side of the screen that I've just dropped. You can share what you think with others attending here today. What do you think? What percentage, what range do you think that this answer is going to fall in? I'll give you a moment to respond there. This is actually something that's been researched, and we're going to share the answer from this study. Let's take a look. 22 out of 100. That's it. This is from a study, the M&R benchmark study done each year of some rather large nonprofits. This 22% number is for the year 2019. This is a study of large national and international nonprofits. And even These big charities with their big marketing teams and generally well thought out donation pages still see 78% of potential donors walk away from the donation page and abandon their gift. So they're walking away at that last possible moment. At some point, maybe they thought they were going to make a donation. They found themselves all the way there, and then they changed their mind. Particular sectors of the nonprofit community have even lower conversion rates, such as 14 out of 100 for hunger and poverty charities. These numbers can be even bleaker for nonprofits just using PayPal or other kind of generic checkout carts, something that's not optimized or geared in any way for the nonprofit community. So what's the impact of this donation abandonment for your year-end online fundraising? This is the time of the year when you have the opportunity to raise the most money. This is the time of the year when donors are the most open to giving. These are two of the most often shared stats to show that most giving happens at the end of the year. 1/3 of giving occurs in November, 12% in the last 3 days of the year. We saw stats not quite this high on our platform at the end of last year. 16% of funds raised in December, 7% in the last week of the year. Still a significant percentage of your yearly totals. This time of year, you can either gain or lose donations based on your donation process. Before we can solve the problem of donation abandonment, we need to understand why donors leave your donation form. The reasons donors don't complete your donation form, don't complete their gift, it's really boiled down to 4 things: confusion, friction, distraction, and fear. What do I mean by this? Let's look at confusion. The donor is confused and unsure whether they should actually donate. Perhaps the donation page doesn't reinforce why a gift should be made, or perhaps the donor doesn't understand who they're giving to or how the gift will help. Friction. There are roadblocks being put in the way to completing the donation. Perhaps the form is just too hard. There are too many fields. Or, for example, if I make a mistake, it won't help me correct it. Distraction. Something distracts the donor from completing the gift. There are too many exit ramps off the page, too many links asking me to leave, begging me to abandon the gift. Fear. Something scares the donor away from making the gift. Is this page secure? Who are the people behind this charity again? Will my money be wasted? Can I really trust this organization to do good things with my donation? Now, I don't want to spend too much time on bad examples, but I want you to see exactly what I'm talking about. The confusion, the fear, the distraction, the friction. So let's take a look at some not so great examples. My apologies to any of the nonprofits I'll spotlight here. They should know that they are not alone. Many nonprofits are in the same boat. Almost every donation process can be improved in some way. Even the better examples I'll show later in the webinar have ways to improve. Let's take a look. Let's start with this nonprofit. Let's look at the confusion issue. This nonprofit links the donor into a checkout process provided by their payment processor. Really, it's just a way to process a card. The nonprofit's message and branding is lost. There is no content here to convince me to complete this gift. It's impersonal. It's very transactional. You also can never link the donor directly here from emails or social media. I'd be incredibly confused if I landed here from a solicitation. As soon as I land here, I start to forget why I'm giving. Friction is typically too many form fields or steps or too many decisions that I have to make to get to the end of the donation process. Let's look at the University of Utah. I have to work myself through as many as 8 steps here to get to the end of my donation process. Even if I'm not doing a tribute gift, I'm still going here. Let's load in some stuff here. Still going. Still going. Still going. Oh, now I've got a whole nother form I have to fill out. Payment form that I have to fill out. Too many steps, too many fields. This is just way, way too much. That's the friction that I'm talking about. Distraction. Are you just flat out asking donors to leave? This is probably my biggest pet peeve. So many nonprofits make the mistake of embedding a donation form just somewhere on their website. This is an example here from Hancock College. There are 279 links on this donation page. 279 shiny objects to distract me away from completing my gift. There is even a how to give link. I'm already here. I already know how to give. Why are you telling me here now and trying to drive me into another page? Too much. Fear. This is typically where the donor is worried that the page is not secure or that their money will be wasted. Let's go back to the original example here. There is nothing on this page that shows me that it is secure. Without the nonprofit's brand, I need to explicitly trust this payment processor's checkout process. I know who they are because I've worked in this e-commerce industry for 22 years, but donors don't. And without content telling me that how my donation will be used, nothing to remind me of why I should give, I'm going to have this nagging fear in the back of my mind that my money will be wasted. It will not make an impact. So, just a couple of bad examples there. Let's move on to the positive side of things. The solution to this is to build a more effective donation page, to optimize the page and the message that it's going to present to donors. What are our goals for making these changes? It's very simple. It's more conversions, so more donations per visitor. Can we tick up the number of conversions by 1%, 5%, 10%? What would an additional percentage mean to your year-end fundraising totals? If you typically raise $5,000 in online donations in your year-end campaign, an increase of 1% might mean an extra $50. An increase of 5% is an extra $250. A 10% increase is an extra $500. Every dollar counts, especially now. If we look at the for-profit world, some experts think you can get as much as a 36% increase in conversions by optimizing your checkout process. That would be an extra $1,800 in this example. We also want higher donation amounts per gift, increasing your average gift size. And we'll talk about how to do that as part of this presentation. So, let's go over 12 traits of a more effective donation page. Let's turn around why donors leave and see if we can get them to stay. After we run through these, we'll make a test donation on a page that has all these traits, and we'll look at some better donation page examples. As we go along through these, I'll drop some further reading links from our blog on many of these traits. Look for these links in the chat window as we go along. Again, I'm going to be sending out a replay video. I'm going to be sending out all these resources and links and such to everybody who's attending today. So if you don't catch it, no worries. So first up, your donation page must be branded. This means that the page needs to include your logo, colors, images, and marketing message. The donor should understand that they are giving to your organization, not some third party. Your brand will help reinforce trust in the page, and it'll reinforce your message about why a gift is needed. This is going to pay off for you, I promise you. There have been studies throughout the last decade showing that donors give 38% larger gifts to branded pages, and they're 7 times more likely to give. Boom, right there, the first trait. We've already started to increase your donations. Second, your page should be isolated. This means it has no distracting links that can take the donor away from the donation process. Remember our Hancock College, 279 links that are trying to get us to go somewhere else? That's not what we want. Being isolated, this normally means just removing all the navigational elements from your donation page. An easy way to accomplish this is to simply build a standalone landing page to take donations. That's available in For Good Cause and other platforms just like ours. Then you can link the donor directly there from all your communications. They don't have to slog through your website trying to find where to click so that you can give. By removing the navigational elements, unnecessary distractions are no longer visible. This allows the donor to focus purely on entering the details necessary to complete their donation. Information which gives the donation confidence becomes more prominent. That's the why they should give. That's that content that I'm going to talk about in a minute that's going to help convince them to go ahead and finish off this donation. And with less distractions, it's clearer to donors where they are. They are within the checkout process, and they can see how many steps and fields and what they have to complete that donation. Being isolated simply pushes the donor in the one direction you want toward the completed donation. This has been studied in the for-profit world, and removing distractions can increase your checkout conversions 3 to 10%. Think of the number one e-commerce site in the world, Amazon. When you are shopping, they have thousands of product links, search boxes, recommendations, etc. But when you click to checkout, all that goes away, and they focus you only on entering your address, payment details, and shipping, completing your order. Think of your website in that way. Your website is there to convince people that you're wonderful, that you're doing great things, that you're making an awesome impact. It's going to have a lot of other things too. How to volunteer, sign up for your email newsletter. But when someone clicks donate, you need to strip all that away, because that's a person that said, I'm ready to donate. You need to remove all the distractions from that person. Third, your donation page needs to be mobile friendly. This means the page should not only be able to be viewed on a mobile device, but it should provide a user-friendly giving experience. Specifically, your donation page should be responsive. It should adjust itself to the size of the device visiting it. We'll drop another poll on the right side. I want to get your impressions here of something. What percentage of traffic to the donation pages on our platform do you think comes from a mobile device? How much from mobile? How much from desktop? And mobile, I'm counting a phone and a tablet here. What percentage do you think? I'm going to give you a moment to answer, and then I'm going to reveal the answer here. All right, let's see if you were right. 55% of the traffic to the donation pages hosted on our platform is from a mobile device. How close were you with your answer? So the majority of donors, more than half, are coming to donate via their mobile device. If your donors can't give easily on that mobile device, you will not get that gift. Trustworthy. Now, it should go without saying that your donation page should be secure, but it also should communicate that security. All traffic to your page should be encrypted through a security certificate, and you should use trust logos that then demonstrate that security to donors. Donors can be scared off if they don't fully and explicitly understand that their credit card and personal information will be protected. This stat about e-commerce sales certainly demonstrates that. 19% of sales are lost due to security concerns. A trust badge can help alleviate those concerns. I'll show an example of this when we do our test donation. When you communicate your security, you'll build trust in the donation process and in your organization. Number 5, your donation page needs to be compelling. Your donation page is not just a form for somebody to put in their credit card details. It is your final step to convince them to donate. Your donation page needs content that will help donors understand the value of their gift. What is the impact if they give? What's the impact if they give a certain amount? Why is this gift needed? You'll want content like a strong headline. A supporting appeal is typically 1 to 3 sentences of how a donation will create an impact for your organization or community. And images that will create an emotional connection between the donor and your cause. Think of this content as your elevator pitch to a donor. You only have a few seconds to get them to hand over the donation or to convince them to start filling out your donation form. What would you say? And it's not at this time of the year that the gift is tax deductible. That's not really something that sells a donor. It's how a donation will help those people or places that you serve. And it should be a continuation of a story that you're telling in your year-end email, social media, and direct mail. A great idea here is to create a story of one person, place, or thing that you are helping. Start that story in your communications and continue that story all the way through to the donation page. Not reiterating it, but building on it. Maybe starting it in an email and finishing it on that donation page that you're sending someone to. We're helping John help others like John. The content that you have on this page, I think it's the biggest factor in whether a donor will give. Yes, we're going to talk about doing a lot to we're talking a lot about doing the, optimizing the technology. But if your donation page does not convince the donor that their gift is important, then they're not going to give. This is also a big factor in getting larger gifts. The more value your proposition to donors, the bigger the gift that they're going to want to give. To continue the idea of being compelling, the page must also communicate urgency. This is often communicated in that headline and supporting appeal that I just mentioned. Demonstrate why a gift is needed now. Why is a gift needed before the end of the year? You also can communicate urgency in the buttons used on your page, and I'll show examples of this. Too many nonprofits just use the word submit on the button that finalizes the donation. Instead, use something like donate now to communicate both that they're sending a donation and that it's going to help immediately. Seven, your donation page needs to be concise. Think less form fields, less steps to complete the donation. I often say the easier it is, easier you make it to give, the more donations you're going to get. Number 7, this is where you can make it easier. Be very purposeful in your data collection. Collect only what you need to fulfill the donation. You don't need to turn your donation form into a survey. Think of what fields you can remove and still get the gift. Can you get that data later from the donor through surveys, phone calls, events that you might have? Your goal right now is just to get the donation. Once they're in your database, you can market to them in any way that you want. Again, we can learn from the for-profit world here. Learn from the e-commerce world. A long or complex checkout process is the third biggest reason why e-commerce orders are abandoned. 21% of why orders are lost. Here at For Good Cause, we prefer a one-step checkout process. One-step, one-page donation page. It limits the number of steps. It helps the donor see in totality what they'll need to provide and reduces errors in donors going back and forth between steps. That said, there are some multi-step donation pages that work well. I'll show one in the examples. It's really those only that keep their form fields to an absolute minimum and don't include unnecessary steps like a review step or, never do this, account registration, making folks register before they give. Please don't ever do that. Number 8, To go along with being concise, the donation page must be clear. And I'm talking about the design of the donation form. Sometimes the donation form might be somewhat concise, but all the fields visually just run together. Or the font sizes on section headers and the form fields are all the same. So it's just perceived longer than it is. Your form should be clearly broken into sections with clear, bold headers and lots of white space around that to delineate the sections of the form. You should also be very clear in communicating what fields are optional versus required. Please don't do this by starring the required fields with asterisks. It's kind of something that was kind of always done, 10, 15 years ago. If you've made your form concise already, the remaining fields are probably most likely all required. Seeing all those asterisks can be quite overwhelming. Instead, note specifically which ones are optional. Which ones can I skip? Test your donation form to see if it's as clear as it is in its design. Number 9, your page should be maximizing. It should work to maximize the size of each gift. Here's where we're getting into trying to use your donation page to encourage bigger, larger donations. Here are some elements that you can include on your page to help that effort. Make sure your page has a monthly giving option. Over time, monthly donors give more. According to the M&R benchmark study, the average monthly gift is $25 a month. That's $300 a year. Compared to their average one-time gift of $111, this means that monthly donors give almost 3 times more than one-time donors in that first year. I'll also add that on our platform, our average monthly gift is $50 a month. That's $600 a year. To earn more donations, to earn more per donation, you can also include an option for donors to cover processing fees. Now, this has to be done the right way. Don't let a fundraising platform take these dollars for themselves. There are so many platforms now that take a huge percentage as a fee from donors. It's sometimes 3, 5, 8%. I think GoFundMe now tries to charge as much as 15%. Instead, these funds should be lumped into the donation and all go to your nonprofit. Make sure that your donation page is set up so that there are no platform transaction fees. No website is taking an additional chunk out of your dollars. I also recommend not pre-checking this box. This is also a common practice. This extra giving should be something that donors opt into so they understand it. They see how much extra that they're giving as they click the box, not something that they've missed and then wonder after they've given why and how they gave more. We see about 35% of donors will give extra with this option. So this is another way, just increasing the dollars that you're raising per gift. Suggested giving levels are also a way to increase donation size. Donors typically need a little hand-holding on what might be a good gift size. You should set up a range of suggestions with a default that's slightly higher than what your normal gift size is. We've also seen nonprofits that set up donation pages for different types of donors, so they can suggest gifts larger on pages for major donors versus on pages for smaller donors. Number 10, your donation page needs to be helpful. Donors will make mistakes and they will have last-minute questions. Is your page that you have currently helpful for your donors? It should include contact information for donors. This is a simple customer service tactic that can help fill donations. If I'm on a donation page and I have an issue, if I can email or pick up the phone and call somebody, that's typically a donation that you're going to get. because you're there to help that person with whatever issue that they may be having. The page should also have helpful and clear error messaging that can help donors understand any issues and fix them. Perhaps they enter the wrong zip code for their card, or they miss a required field. The error messages should be in plain language and help the donor know where and how to fix the mistake. Another kind of helpful feature is remembering the donor. If they have donated to your organization before, preload their information, help them speed past common form fields like name and address and phone number and email. The more your form can help, the more donations you're going to get. Now, let's assume that these previous 10 traits have worked. Your donor has just made a donation on your donation page. The thank you that your donation process presents is just as important as all the previous 10, maybe more so. It is your first step to retaining this donor and getting he or she to give again. So I'm including this kind of post-donation trait in this process. And I've got one more for you after this. You want to hit the donor with 2 automatic thank yous. One that is often overlooked. First, present a heartfelt thank you message on the confirmation screen. Too many confirmation screens present a cold, robotic, payment confirmed message that fails to even say thank you. Second, have your donation page send an automated thank you email. This should come from a valid email address, from a real person. It should address the donor by name, thank the donor, reiterate how the donation will be used, and include all the details of their donation and a statement of tax deductibility. For our final donation page attribute, let's see if the donor will do something else on your behalf while we have them on that same confirmation screen. They have shown that they love you by giving you a gift. Now's a great time to pivot to ask them for additional help. Let's see if they will amplify this gift for you. This might include some social media sharing your website with friends and family. They can shout out on Facebook that they gave to you, and their friends should do the same. It might include the ability to click to your social media pages and follow you, like you on Facebook, follow you on Twitter. They can get an opportunity to track the success of your work and their donation. It might be having them look up their employer to see if their company has a matching gift program. You can decide what the next step is that you want a donor to take from the confirmation, whether it's these ideas or another, like maybe asking them to volunteer, be on the board, or click somewhere into your website. Your donor is going to appreciate that you have interest in their further support and involvement, more involvement in your cause. And this is a great time to ask for that. So, how does your donation page stack up against these traits? Answer in the poll window. I want to see kind of where everybody is. Compare yourself to others others that are attending today. I think you'll find probably that you're in the same boat. You probably have a few things to work on. You might be doing a few things right. Hopefully these traits that we've been over are going to help you out. All right, so I could go on and on with attributes of a good donation page. You're probably saying you have been going on and on about that, but we only have an hour or so. So let's look at a donation page that has these elements. Let's make a demo donation. So we are going to look at a demo version of a campaign from one of our clients, Girl Scouts in Northeast Texas. Now, other platforms like ours pass this checklist. I'm using one from ours. Anybody that you use, just make sure that they do pass these traits. Let's go through this page and see if it does have the 12 traits. Number one, we can see that this page is branded. It has the Girl Scout colors and logo. I know that I'm making a donation directly to them. This page is isolated. There's no navigation or other distracting links on this page. My path forward is to complete the gift. This page is mobile friendly. It responds to the size of the device that's visiting it. It is trustworthy. There is an explicit statement that the donation is secure, and this nonprofit has the trust logo here to confirm that. There's even a privacy and security pop-up in the footer if you want more information about security and privacy. This page is compelling. This is one of my favorite headlines I have ever come across on a donation page. That's why I show this one all the time. Build girls of courage, confidence, and character. Wow. That tells me exactly how my donation will impact the Scouts. I like the image of the Scouts getting their science badge here. It's just very compelling. They have a great supporting appeal to convince me to give. On urgency, I'd love a little bit more in the appeal about why I should make this gift now. I do like that they've used urgent language in the button where I'm going to submit my gift. It's concise. It's a one-step process with only the fields that are needed to complete the gift. Sometimes this organization will ask for a gift designation or have a custom field now and then, but I've removed that just to show you a more concise form. At year-end, be as concise as you possibly can. The form is clear, bold headers, lots of white space. You always know the sections that you're in. Form fields are labeled easy to read. The form is very clear. The form is trying to maximize the gift. It's got a monthly giving option, suggested giving levels, and a button at the bottom to help your donation go a little further. The page is helpful with contact information and easy error messaging if I make a mistake. Let's go ahead and make a gift to show you the whole process here. Number 11, I'm sorry. Is it thankful? Yes. We get a nice thank you message posted immediately here. Does it give me opportunities to amplify the gift? It does. Sharing on social media, connections with social media pages, and even a lookup of my employer if I choose to do that. A simple, easy, one-step giving process with all the traits that we talked about. Let's go through some additional examples. These are pages that I like, some that I've given to, that have a lot of the elements that we're talking about. And a couple of maybe top performing pages from year-end last year on our platform. As I mentioned before, no page is perfect, and I'm going to kind of note some room for improvement on each of these as I go through these. So let's take a look. Let's start with the Special Olympics Missouri. First thing I see, fantastic image. This creates that emotional connection to the donor. This is absolutely what sells me on this page. Look at that smile. I want to help this kid. This is a matching campaign, a 3 times match. That's wonderful. I love that. They certainly explain where the donation is going to go to, how it will be used. That's very compelling. This is a little multi-step form, but I don't mind that because it's all on one page. I'm not skipping around from page to page. I'd love a little bit more on the security of this page, but I think a lot of times the brand will help with that. I love the monthly giving option. This is an awesome donation page. It is mobile friendly. Yep. Great example. The Wildlife Conservation Society, this is a nonprofit that I give to every year. I've always liked their donation process. They always have great images, great headlines. They always match, their pages always match the communications that they're doing in the emails that they send me. This is their year-end page, and I love that they're showing urgency on the page here with a limited time match, 2 times match from a major donor. They've got that going for another 10 days, 5 hours and 28 minutes here. One of my favorite things about this nonprofit and the donation process really is the thank you part of their process. I've read many a thank you email. You can actually I've seen virtually every type of thank you that you can imagine, but these guys just wowed me with what they sent me in one of the recent donations that I gave them. You can read about that in an article I'll post in the chat session. It's called 3 Fundraising Lessons from Generation Z. It's a wonderful the way kind of how they write thank yous and what that means. The rest of the page here, it's pretty simple. I think I would like a little more white space, a little bigger, bolder headers here to delineate the sections. But overall, this is a pretty easy donation form. As I mentioned, no page is perfect. One of the problems that they're having right now is they're having a problem with their error messaging. And I'm actually going to write them about this because this is not helpful. Not helping me that I missed all these fields here. Next up, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I have to say, if there's one donation page, not built by one of my clients, that is the ultimate example of an effective donation page. It is St. Jude. It has it all. It's a one-step process. Minimal fields. No distractions on this page. Amazing photos that they use. Trust logos. It is mobile friendly. They have you can contact them if you need to with any last minute questions that they have. They have a phone number if you want to switch to donate by phone. That's always available. Just an awesome example. Simple, easy to move yourself through this form. Nothing complicated about it. One thing I'll note is if this, everybody knows St. Jude, so they have a lot of trust that goes into their pages. If this was a smaller charity, not so well known, I think this page could benefit from a little short appeal that's on here. Again, 1 to 3 sentences that really it's going to explain in a little more detail how the donation is going to be used. What's it going to go to? What's an impact if I give $19 a month? What does that mean for the organization? Next up, one of our clients, a group called St. Meinrad, they basically train religious leaders. This is the page from year-end 2019, one of the more effective pages, very effective page from that time period. I like that they're very clear about how a donation is going to benefit the organization here in the supporting appeal. They have, help us educate the priests, permanent deacons, and lay ministers who will be ministering on the front lines. It's going to go direct to education. They have a great use of images here. I feel like these are actual people that they are training and where the training's going to occur. And of course has all the other traits a good donation page needs. In the future, I'd love to see them experiment with, tying donations of a particular size, to the work that they do. A $25 monthly gift will do X, for example. This page remembers me, as I've given before on this type of page. Again, easy giving here. This page converted at 37% last year, well above the national benchmarks that we talked about earlier at 22%, and I think it resulted in 157 donations. Next up, another effective page from 2019, and really all year. This is one of our clients, Tony's Kitchen. This is a soup kitchen in Montclair, New Jersey. their pages always convert well. A great, very clear headline, a great supporting appeal. Again, I love when nonprofits are just clear and direct about, you give this, this is where the money's going to go and how it's going to impact. So they say donations go to purchasing food and supplies to help us keep up with the demand for fresh, healthy meals, for distribution to those in need in our community. And I love that they name those folks: families, seniors, and children. This page has been updated for 2020. This volunteer is a great image here. You can see she is masked up. You just feel like the donation that you're giving is going to help her do what she needs to do to help this community. Anytime you can use an image to show, your work in action or the result of your work, typically kind of smiling faces. If it's the results, those are always good choices. This page converted at 33%. I should note tribute giving. A lot of times on a year-end form, a lot of our clients will leave this off. Kind of depends on your clientele. If you want a more concise form, you can turn this option off. But if you feel like your clientele, they're typically giving in honor or in memory of someone, typically like a hospice or something like that, it may be something that you want to leave on your form. And our final example, another 2020 example, this page was just launched by a client of ours, Friends of Foothills Animal Shelter. You can really tell this is a year-end campaign. They're using, that holiday imagery. That certainly is going to tie into the emails and other communications that they're doing here at the year-end. I love this kind of before and after concept. Really great for an animal shelter. We're taking in Gloria, but she's going to be great after spending time with us and getting adopted by you. Great headline, help save a life. It's simple, and I know how my gift is going to impact these animals, straight to the point. My only pet peeve, pun intended, with this page is the link here out to Gloria's story, her video. The video of this dog. Again, do not encourage donors to leave your donation page for any reason. I know what their goal is here. They want you to see the video, and they want you to be touched by that and then make a gift. But this video could have been placed on a different fundraising page, embedded there, and then linked here to the donation page, or it might be in an email or promoted through Facebook or something of that nature. When you drive them into the donation page, you want to keep them here. Otherwise, a wonderful organization that's always doing great things with their donation pages. Okay. Let's look at a couple of bonus tips here for your year-end donation page. So we've looked at those 12 traits. I want to give you a couple bonus items here that will be really good for you to do at year-end. First up, you just saw this on a couple of the examples that I just showed. Find a major donor to match your online gifts. This is going to make your page even more effective. One of the best ways to generate online gifts is to incentivize donors with the possibility that their gift and the impact of that gift will be doubled with a matching gift from a major donor or other sponsor. This is where someone agrees to match an online gift with an equal gift of their own. This has been shown to have a big impact on giving. In fact, having a match in your campaign increases the likelihood of a gift by 22%. I recommend setting a dollar and time limit. For example, that the major donor will match up to $10,000 and only if you give in the next 48 hours. This will create urgency and spur giving within that time frame. You want to deploy this match on critical days where it will make the biggest impact, like the last 3 days of the year. Make sure your donation page has information displayed on it about the match. That's what we're talking about. The donation page is there to convince that final step. If you talk about that match like you saw in our examples, that's going to help. The other thing, do not send your donors at year end to your everyday donation page that you've been using all year that has the same content now that it had in March. Remember that your message on your page needs to match the theme of your year-end campaign and carry forward your story of impact that you're delivering at this time of the year. So, duplicate your everyday donation page and make changes to it for year-end. This allows you to track the success of your year-end campaign separately from your everyday campaign. You'll know how many people gave through that one page. Many nonprofits that we work with will actually create multiple pages for year-end for different types of donors or different pages for different types of communications. One page for email, one for social, one for direct mail, all set up to track the success of each one separately. This is a huge deal. You should be looking for the ability to build unlimited campaigns quickly and easily. That's going to help you. So, anyone who's ever been to one of my webinars knows that I give out homework. Today's homework is to make an online donation to your organization. When is the last time you did that? See what you can improve. Compare your page to the 12 traits that we went over. Second, give to other nonprofits online. See what they do that you like or don't like. How well do they fit against the attributes that I went over? To make that easier on everyone that's here today, let's work together. Let's do some networking. Let's pick up some donations. If you're looking for nonprofits, you want to test their pages, ask your fellow attendees. Everybody, drop your website link or link to your donation page in the chat window. Let everybody else test your pages that are here today. You'll pick up a few extra dollars, and your other fellow attendees will learn something in the process. While you're doing that, I'm going to drop some final resources into the chat area for you. By the way, thanks for sticking around to this point. I really appreciate it very much. First resource I'm going to drop is our donation page checklist. That will help you see if your donation page is hurting or helping your fundraising. We'd love any feedback you have on this document. Let us know how it works for you. Also, I'm going to drop a link in the chat to another webinar I did specifically on year-end fundraising. This will go a lot deeper into year-end fundraising than just talking about the donation page process, but it'll also talk about ways to drive donors to your pages, email fundraising, planning for year-end, all that. Another resource for you as you work through these last 2 or 3 weeks of the year. Again, if you did not catch all the links and other resources I dropped during the presentation, no worries. I will send out a replay video. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I hope what we went over today can help you determine if you need an upgrade on your online donation process. I'm going to leave the session open just a few more moments to give you an opportunity to post any final questions you have. I will follow up on any question posted. If you're watching on demand, you can reach out to me here at the information you see on screen. You can reach us at forgoodcause.com. You can email me at info@forgoodcause.com. Just pick up the phone. Call me, 770-517-5962. I'll be happy to answer any question that you have. Again, if I missed anything, look out for the replay. I'll send that over email in the next few days. And once I close this webinar, you'll be redirected to a survey. Please let me know how I did today. I hope you found this useful. Thanks so much for attending, and thanks again for what you are doing for your community. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, and I will see you at my next webinar.